I see that the bima is filled with Rabbi Davis, with Vanessa. And Vanessa, you can join us tomorrow for Ilana Ariane, who is going to be with us for Shabbat services. So, on behalf of everyone here at Temple Beth Shalom, I want to wish you all a Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom, everyone. Welcome to Temple Beth Shalom. We welcome all of you who are here in our sanctuary, and we welcome all of you who are in the virtual sanctuary, wherever you find yourself. It's a beautiful Shabbat evening here in South Florida. We're so blessed to be together. I know that for some of you, it is you're entering perhaps into an 8th day of Passover, as Reformed Jews, most Reformed Jews, observe 7 days of Passover, and so we're celebrating Shabbat tonight. I'm Robert Davis. I'm one of the rabbis here at the temple, along with Rabbi Leuben, and we're blessed to have Vanessa Ressler, Vanessa Cohen, and Helena Crystal here leading us in music, and thank you to Alan Caves and Miguel and Adam as well, and thank you all for being here on this beautiful Shabbat. So let's welcome Shabbat with Shalom Aleichem. Let's sing together.
Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem leshalom, malachei hashalom, malachei elyon, mi-melech malchei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi-melech malchei hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi-melech malchei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Add your voices. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi-melech malchei hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shuvchem Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi-melech malchei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi-melech malchei hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Linda and Fred Friedman to lead us in the kindling of Shabbat candles and in the recitation of Kiddush. Page 2.
O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter this sanctuary in need, all who bring the offering of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love.
Page 4.
And there was evening, and there was morning, the sixth day. The heaven and the earth were finished, and all their array. On the seventh day God finished the work that God had been doing, and God ceased on the seventh day from all the work that God had done. And God blessed the seventh day and declared it holy, because on it God ceased from all the work of creation that God had done.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzav banu, v'shabbat kodsho, ye'ahava u'vratzon hilanu, zikaron lema'aseh bereshit, ki hu yom tehillah lemikra'e kodesh, zecher letziat Mitzrayim, ki banu v'acharta ve'otanu kiddashta mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava u'vratzon imchatanu. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh haShabbat.
And as they're having a l'chaim, I'm going to ask you to turn in the prayer book to page 20 for L'cha Dodi. We're going to do verses 1, 2, 5, and 9.
La 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 L'cha Dodi, la 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 Likrat Kala, la 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 B'nei Shabbat, B'nei Shabbat nekale, la 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 L'cha Dodi, la 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 Likrat Kala. ושמו אחד לשם ותפארת ולתהילה. יא לה 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 לך דודי, לה 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 לקראת כלה, לה 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 בני שבת, בני שבת לקראת שבת, לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם, ניסוחה, סוף מעשה, במחשבה תחילה. שבת, בני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, כי בעורף קומי אורי, שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. יא לה לה יא לה 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 לך דודי, לה 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 לקראת כלה, לה 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 בני שבת, בני שבת ושלום, עצרת בלה, גם בשמחה וצהלה, תוך אמוני המסגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה, יא לה 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 לך דודי, לה 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 לקראת כלה, לה 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 בני שבת, בני שבת נקבל, לה 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 לך דודי, לקראת כלה, לה 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 בני שבת, בני שבת נקבלה.
We remain standing. Turn to page 28 for the call to worship, Baruch Hu.
יא לה 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 לה, 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 יא לה 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 la lai lai lai, ya la lai lai lai, ya la lai lai lai. Baruch hu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai hamevorach.
together page 30. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim b'chokma poteach she'arim uvipuna mishnei itim umachalif et hazmanim umisader et hakochavim b'mishmerotehem b'rakia kirtzono borei yom v'layla golel or mipnei choshech v'choshech mipnei or uma'avir yom umevi layla umabdil ben yom vein Laila, Adonai Tsebaot Shemo, El Chai V'Kayam, Tamid Yimloch Aleinu Le'olam Va'ed, Baruch Atah Adonai, Hamariv Aravim. Let's read together page 32. Everlasting love, you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we'll meditate on your laws and your commandments. We rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. We continue with Shema on pages 34 and 35, and then I'll ask you after the Shema to please be seated, and we'll continue with Ve'ahavta.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod, Malchuto, Leolam Ba'ed. And you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart. With all your might, and all these words which I command you on this day shall be in your heart, shall be in your heart, and you shall teach them diligently unto your children. And you shall speak of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up, and when you rise up, and you shall bind them for a sign upon
Ushatam leotal
and they shall be for frontlets
Vehayu letotam
and you shall write them on the doorposts of your home and upon your gates and upon your gates, that you may remember and do all of my commandments and be holy unto your God, unto your God, unto your God.
Beautiful. This morning, at last day of Pesach services, we chanted the traditional Torah portion, which was read this morning, and that is the portion that contains the Micha Mocha, this powerful set of verses that the Israelites sang after they crossed over the Red Sea. And much of the story of Passover takes place on the other side of the Red Sea before we crossed over. And there is that very tense moment when the people are whining and moaning and complaining and crying out to God, God, save us. And God calls back and says, tell the people to walk forward. And so that's what we did. We walked through that sea, and we get to the other side. And that's where we are right at this moment now, right at the other side of the shore of the Red Sea. And we have a choice. We have a choice. And it's the choice that we study during Passover. Who are we going to be? Are we going to be a Pharaoh? Are we going to be a slave? Are we going to be a free person? Are we going to be a bystander? What role are we going to pursue in our lives? And our tradition is clear. We are definitely not to be a Pharaoh. We are absolutely want to resist slavery. We are not to be a bystander. We are to be a free person, celebrating our freedom, but also bringing others to that freedom. And so let us take seriously that story of Passover and not forget about it until next year. Let us do the work that we need to bring more freedom into this world, less enslavement, less pharaohs, and let us not be a bystander to any of the evils in this world. And let us chant together, Milchamocha, page 40, and rejoice.
Who is like you, Adonai? Who is like you, Kodesh, Nora Tehilot, Mosei Felech, Nora Tehilot, Mosei Felech. Who is like you, Adonai? Who is like you,
Preparation for Hashkivenu, let's turn to page 43 and read together this prayer on the bottom of the page. Give us a place to rest, Adonai our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, va'al kol amo Yisrael, va'al Yerushalayim. Hashkivenu.
Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom V'hamidenu shomreinu L'chaim Ufros aleinu sukkah shlomecha V'tachnenu be'etzah tova milfanecha V'hoshienu leman shamecha
We continue now with the central part of the prayer service, Hatefillah Avot V'Imahot. It begins on page 46 and then continues on the even number pages. Please rise.
Adonai Sfatai Tiftach Adonai Sfatai Tiftach Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha Adonai Sfatai Tiftach Adonai Sfatai Tiftach Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanorah Elyon Gomel Hasadim Tovim Vekoneh Hakol Vezoher Chazdei Avot Ve'imahot Umevi Gulav Livnevnem Dema'an Shemo Be'ahava Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham Ve'ezrat Sarah Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mehayeh HaKol Atah Rav Lehoshia Mashiv HaRuach Umorid HaGashem. Oh, did we move over? Oh, I'm so sorry. Thank you. Sorry. Mechayeh Haim Bechesed Mechayeh HaKol Berachamim Rabim Somech Noflim Verofech Olim Umatir Asurim Umakayem Emunato Lishenei Afar Michamo Chabal Kivrot Umidom Elach Melech Memit Umachayeh Umatzmiach Yeshua V'ne'eman atah lechayot hakol Baruch atah Adonai מחיה הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יחללו הסלע. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
We continue Hatefillah, the prayers of our own hearts in silence, or the prayers through page 62. When you're finished with your prayers, please be seated.
יהיו לרצון אמרפי והגיון ליבי. יהיו לרצון אמרפי והגיון ליבי לפניך. יהיו לרצון אמרפי והגיון ליבי. ויהיו לרצון אמרפי והגיון ליבי לפניך. אדוני, אדוני, צורי, אדוני צורי וגואלי. אדוני, אדוני, צורי, אדוני צורי וגואלי. Go inside your heart, just be. Go inside your heart and see what it wants, what it needs, what it yearns when you breathe. Go inside your heart and see. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be kind, be true. May they be acceptable to you. Oh, my rock, my rock, my rock, my rock, and my Redeemer.
So beautiful. We are so blessed to have you with us and have your voices guide us in prayer. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. When my nephew was little, and that was a long time ago as he's going into his senior year of high school, when he would get really excited about something, like baseball season starting, or the last day of school before summer break, or me, his favorite aunt, coming into town, my sister would say to him, Only 3 more sleeps until JoJo comes. Only 2 more sleeps. Only 1 more sleep, and so on. The counting down to a really exciting event is not new or is not strange to our culture. It's a big part of our culture, in fact. I'm sure we're not the only ones that say only X amount of sleeps until something exciting is happening. We put X's out, we X out our boxes on calendars to represent how many days are left until a big day that we're excited about. There are countdown calendars for weddings and special events that you can actually buy that are like blocks with numbers on them that you can change daily. And there are even apps on your phone that you can download to set the countdown. And it's always exciting. Who doesn't want something to look forward to so much that they would invest in a countdown calendar? As a Jewish community, we are in the midst of a similar count. Starting from the second day of Passover, as it says in the Torah, we count for 7 weeks, 49 days, and then in the day after, the 50th day, when Shavuot happens, our next holiday. If we could be as excited about a visitor, graduation, or wedding, imagine the excitement that we have to be able to receive the Torah. We're meant to get increasingly eager with each week, with each day that passes. Medieval scholar Maimonides wrote in the Guide for the Perplexed, in order to raise the importance of this day, we count the days that pass since the preceding festival, just as the one who expects his most intimate friend on a certain day counts the days and even hours. This is the reason why we count the days that pass since the offering of the Omer between the anniversary of our departure from Egypt and the anniversary of the Torah. Wow, to even count the hours. That's how excited we are for our most precious of gifts. The one difference between our counting in our community is that we don't count down. It's not 3 days, 2 days, 1 day. Instead, we count up. Instead of saying there are X amount of days left until we get the Torah, we start, and starting at 50 until 1, or Revelation to Mount Sinai, we start with the number 1 and count up to Revelation. There are many beautiful reasons as to why. First, the Israelites did not know exactly when they would be receiving Torah on their journey. They were just meant to count the days and be grateful for each one as they rose physically and mentally out of the slave mentality into their newfound physical and spiritual freedom. That reason certainly works for the first count, because after that, we count symbolically, reenacting the story as a way to feel a part of the revelation ourselves. Another reason we count up is that we are metaphorically going up, leaving the most narrow of depths and taking a step each day toward holiness. This is a similar argument to the Hanukkah candles. After some debate, we light 1 candle on the first night and then an additional 1 each night as a way to increase light and holiness rather than decrease it. I just love the idea of counting upwards toward holiness each day. I have tried to count the Omer several times in my life, and I have to admit I've never made it past the second night until this year. As I said, I love the idea in theory, but this count takes real effort to remember to do it for 49 days in a row. This is the first year that I've decided to do it, and I've stuck to it so far. I have to admit also that I'm relying on a friend to remind me on most nights that I forget. And it's also easier because I'm counting on Instagram each evening with the tribe. Even then, it's still tough. So before I made such a commitment, much like all of my Jewish choices as a Reformed Jew, I had to really think about what it would mean for me to take on this mitzvah. It's one of the 613 mitzvot, as it says directly in the Torah in Parshat Emor coming up in just a few weeks, that we must bring an omer, which is actually a measurement used for an offering of grain. An omer's worth is how much we're supposed to bring. And then we must count until the day after 7 weeks, on Shavuot, to offer a new grain to Adonai. And beyond its biblical origins and our rituals' close ties with the agricultural cycle, it's traditionally also associated with the time of mourning. There were many historically tragic events associated with the murder of Jewish people during this time. So since then, some people choose not to celebrate things such as weddings or going to live music and concerts or even haircuts. As an eternal optimist, the lengthy period of mourning time, while for good reason, does not resonate with me. What I choose to focus on as I take on the mitzvah this year are the mystical connections. In my reading about the origins of Jewish mysticism and the origins of Jewish mysticism and the Omer, I came across this beautiful blog post, which articulated it so well. I loved that this really added together my hopes for just a dose of mysticism to this season. It reads, Kabbalah was often the impetus for attributing new mystical meanings to existing Jewish rituals, especially in relation to the desire to join and unite the disparate and separated elements of the spiritual worlds of Jewish mysticism. While performing the mitzvot, the believer can focus their attention on uniting and connecting the Kabbalistic sphirot, the mystical powers or elements of God, in order to achieve unity, cohesion, and coordination in a broken and disjointed universe. Each week of the 7 is associated with one of these sphirot, or mystical powers or elements of God. The first, chesed, kindness; tzedek, righteousness; then gevurah, strength; tiferet, the beauty of balance; netzach, power; hod, thankfulness; yesod, foundation; and malchut, sovereignty. This means that as we count each day numerically with a blessing, we can count each week with our deeds, either by actions or intentions. As we enter into the 7th day of the first week, the theme is chesed, kindness. And that means it's not too late to start. We have an entire day ahead of us to do an act of chesed for ourselves, for others, or the earth, as today is also Earth Day. Just as our ancestors took the steps forward toward freedom and revelation, we can too. As a community, we will count on Shabbat, and you can join in for the counting of the Omer yourself if this ritual will add meaning to your life. Whether we actually count or imagine the journey, let us take a step up each day, beginning from that first taste of freedom as we conclude Passover, until we actually reach the top of Mount Sinai and receive Torah on Shavuot. My blessing for all of us is that we only increase in goodness and holiness this season. Shabbat Shalom. And now we turn together to count this evening's Omer count on page 278. We're actually traditionally not supposed to say the number of the day before it starts, so I did actually tell you what number it is, but in order for the ease of saying the blessing, I will tell you that it's number 7, which is Shiva in Hebrew. So we're going to add that here in the second part of the blessing. And we can begin together in the English, starting with I am ready. I am ready to fulfill the mitzvah of counting the Omer. And with all mitzvot, we have this special blessing that we say first. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al spirat haomer. Hayom yom shiva yamim laomer. Today is the 7th day, which is 0 weeks and 7 days of the Omer. I suppose that makes it 1 week, actually. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
It is a beautiful time for chesed, and we're going to extend our chesed with a prayer of healing for friends and family, for those who are near and dear to us, those who might be at home or in the hospital recovering from illness or surgery, or just those of us who are feeling sad and sick at heart. And so if you would like someone added to our prayers tonight, the name of someone, I'll ask you to please say those names as I go around the room, and say those names out loud so that everyone can pray on behalf of the people for whom you're praying.
Jeffrey Rose, Sophia Hirsch.
Thank you.
Alex Gonzalez.
Thank you. Thank you.
Patricia Herto.
Thank you.
Josefa Lozano, Michael Kramer, Jessica Lopez, Eleanor Wu.
Howard Crystal, Katie Crystal, and Samantha Kleiman.
Jay Bentecourt, Sam Fagerman, Yuda Cohen.
In addition to all those names, we continue to pray for those soldiers around the world who are perhaps injured or missing in action, American soldiers and Israeli soldiers in need of physical and emotional healing. And let us pray together a prayer of healing, page 253.
Misheberach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Imotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misheberach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
As well, an act of kindness is to count our blessings with a Shehekianu, a prayer of gratitude for all the good things in our life. So if you've got something good going on in your life, whatever it might be, a birthday, an anniversary, you're thrilled that you're not eating matzah anymore, what kind of joy we have? Celebrations, accomplishments, what do we got?
Oh, we have a wedding. We have
Come
a
on.
wedding. Dory's wedding.
We have a wedding tomorrow night. Rabbi Pomerantz's child Hannah and Sarah are getting
Mazel
married. It's a
tov.
beautiful moment. Any anniversaries out there? The Citrons, happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary. Mazel
College
tov.
graduation, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, let's all stand. Let's face toward Yerushalayim, toward wholeness, and let's do Aleinu, page 282.
לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גאולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו להם, וגורלנו כגורל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. נאמן והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
And with the ark doors open, let's do Shehekianu and send our prayers all the way around the world, heading east.
אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם,
Please be seated. I led my first student congregation service about 35 years ago, and in the very first service, I'm not a sweater at all, but I was sweating that very first service, and my hands were so sticky that the pages in my prayer book stuck together, and I turned past the Shema, and we finished Ve'ahavta, and someone in the congregation raises their hand, which I had never experienced in my life ever in a service, and I said, yes. He said, Rabbi, do you think we should do the Shema? I said, okay. So it's good to know that after 35 years, sometimes we get excited and we forget the prayers and they don't go necessarily in the right order, but I do believe that God will make sure that they go in the right order. So in addition to all the prayers, beautiful prayers that we've said, we take a few moments now to think about all those people who came before us, those who died in years past at this season, and those who may have died in recent days. As a congregation, remember the more than 6 million men, women, and children who were murdered in the Shoah and the Holocaust. Remember all those who perished in the name of liberty, freedom, justice, and righteousness. Remember all the innocent victims of hatred, ignorance, terrorism, disease, violence, natural disaster, and again, war. And remember all those who died in the struggle to reestablish the modern state of Israel and died since that time, making sure our homeland exists for us and for Jews everywhere. On this Shabbat, we remember friends and family whose yortzites are being observed and whose names have lovingly been inscribed on plaques which are in our alcove of remembrance. On this Shabbat, we remember Bruce Paul Bowden, Sylvia Frankel, Peter A. Goldsmith, Gertrude Goldsmith, Sidney Greenberg, Beatrice Hirsch, Marshall Karasik, Pearl B. Keaty, Manuel Kellerman, Milton Kellner, Natalie Singer Kellner, Paula Cohn, Carl Lokshin, Nat Meese, Norman C. Myers, Esther Nannis, Eunice Alberts Nicholson, Morris Perel, Irving Reingold, Selma Cicerek Rickles, Morris Rahm, Francis Rossman, Sarah U. Russin, Simon Sandler, Rachel Ellen Schwartz Thornton, Audrey Stoller, Lester J. Unger, Bernard Weinstein, Stephen Samuel Wise, and Howard Carl Rubel. Remember as well friends and family whose yortzites are also being observed at this time. Remember Dorothy Axelrad, Martin Berger, Lorraine Berlin, Andrew Bloom, Phyllis Bloom, Jack Robert Corshon, Carol Corshon, Robert Mansfield French, Faye Geronimus, Jeanette Gold, Jean Goldstein, Albert Goodman, Sylvia Persky Hart, Robert Jaffe, Rose Levine, Alan Leuben, Beatrice Milhauser, Ida E. Miller, Loretta B. Nagler, Charlotte Orphis Sherman, Jack Polsky, Jerry Post, Harry Ross, Bernard Silverstein, Jesse Circus, Jose Sumala Stein, Werner Stern, Leon Tracht, Jonas J. Unger, and Jenny Wax. And we remember as well friends and family who died in recent days, and their families remain in the Shloshim of mourning in the 30-day period of mourning. Remember Arthur Joel Sheldon, Jacob Mandel, Judith Freeman, Shulamit Klein, Marjorie Shepard, Jenny Bronstein Milland, Jerry Kaplan, as well Hugo Morales, whose funeral will be on Sunday. Remember also all the victims of terror in recent days. And if there's a name that I haven't mentioned, you're in a period of mourning, Yortzeit, Kaddish, I'll ask you to please rise and recite those names, and please remain standing as we're going to join together for Kaddish in a moment. Thank you. Zecher Tzaddik Livracha, may the memory of all the righteous in our lives be a blessing as we rise and with one voice recite words of Kaddish, page 294. Yitgadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah, V'yalma divrach hirute v'yamlich malchute. B'chayechon v'yomechon ufchaye duchol Beit Yisrael. Ba'gala v'zman kari v'yimru. Amen. Yehi shmei rabba mivarak le'olam olamei almaya. Yitbarak v'yishtabak v'yitpa'ar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei kudusha b'rechu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nechamata da'amiran b'yalma v'yimru. Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru. Amen. Osei shalom b'mromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru. Amen. May the source of peace grant peace to all of you who mourn, comfort all who are bereaved, and send healing to all who are saddened, as together we say, Amen. Amen. Please be seated. It's my pleasure to invite up now one of our cantorial soloists, also incoming president of the congregation, member of our board, to share announcements, greetings on behalf of the congregation. Thank you, Vanessa.
Thank you. I'll use my mic here. And I seem to be having a weird allergy thing all of a sudden, so I'm sorry. I'm going to try to get through it. Sorry. Shabbat shalom, everybody. So tomorrow is going to be a really special Shabbat morning. Not only can you participate in all of the normal weekly stuff, we have 9:30 Torah study, 10 o'clock Shabbat, Tat Shabbat with Mr. Baranek and Mr. Mason outside, but we have an incredible musician, composer, singer, just all-around incredible human being, Ilana Arian, coming for a spiritual and meditative experience at 10:30 during what would be our normal Shabbat services. You can watch here with us, and experience it, or you can, of course, watch online, Facebook Live, YouTube. We often use her music here in services. Actually, tonight we did her Hashkivenu and her Micha Mocha. So if you'll come, you will definitely recognize some of her incredible melodies. So if spending the morning meditating and doing this creative workshop with gorgeous music sounds intriguing, which I hope it does, you should join us tomorrow. The theme is going to be Reaching Revelation, Counting Down to the Omer. Following service, there will be a festive lunch by none other than Michael Meltzer. And if you haven't tried his brunch, that's a reason to come. I hope you come for the music, but that's another reason to come. Two other important things. April 28th, there'll be a Yom HaShoah meetup with Mark Baranek via Zoom. And then on the 29th, we have our 6 p.m. Shabbat services, but we have a very special guest speaker that night, Dr. Miriam Klein-Kasanoff. And if you don't know her, she was the founding director of the University of Miami Holocaust Teacher Institute. She's also the education chairperson at the Holocaust Memorial here in Miami Beach. And she is the education specialist for Holocaust studies at the Miami-Dade County school, the public school system. So it sounds like it's going to be incredible. And as always, check our weekly Temple Talk emails or our website or Hakol for more information on our upcoming programs. We're back, so it's nice to see you here. Shabbat Shalom.
Beautiful. Thank you, Vanessa and Helena. So about 1969, I experienced my first Earth Day. Today is Earth Day for those of you who are looking at your calendar. And my science teacher, I was in the Earth Club in the 7th grade, and the science teacher gave us little magnets. And with these they were Coors beer magnets, which I'm not sure you're supposed to give to 7th graders Coors beer magnets. Oh, but we learned that if you take the magnet and you place it on a soda can, if it sticks, that means it's steel. But if it doesn't stick, it's aluminum. And so among my first mitzvah projects that I can remember in 7th grade was sitting by an enormous dumpster of cans, putting my Coors beer onto the cans to figure out which cans were recyclable and which were not. And now we do that, hopefully, naturally, making our earth better. And so we're going to have a song concluding services connecting us to Earth Day as well.
So this is going to be a little fun, hopefully. There's 3 ways you guys can do this. One is we're going to teach you some little, I think we scared somebody away. You can do just the hand motions, you can sing, or you can do both together for bonus points. Okay, all right. So Alan, could I have the interval? Circle round for freedom. Try that with me. Circle round for freedom. freedom. Nice. Circle round for peace. Circle round for peace. For all of us imprisoned. For all of us imprisoned. Circle for release. Circle for release. Okay, so that's the melody, right? There's some different lyrics for the second bit, but the melody is exactly the same. We're not going to repeat it this time. We're just going to go on. Circle for the planet. Circle for each soul. For the children of our children. Keep the circle whole. Are we ready? All right, let's put it all together. Ready, ladies? Okay. Circle round for freedom. Circle round for peace. For all of us imprisoned. Circle for release. Circle for the planet. Circle for each soul. For the children of our children. Keep the circle whole. One more chance. Circle round for freedom. Circle round for peace. For all of us imprisoned. Circle for release. Circle for the planet. Circle for each soul. For the children of our children. Keep the circle whole. Shabbat shalom and happy
Shabbat
Yom
shalom. Thank you for being here with us.
And please join us for Onan.